really deliver the promise of your brand to the customer. And I was right, so it's just that. Because, and this is why I think probably the hardest nut to crack is that middle size, not me uber small or you're big, dining with Warren Buffett model, but the guy in the middle, and we talked about this privately at length. If I want to maintain this level of service and deliver on my customer's expectation, this brand I built, we're all about client comes first, and we spend the big marketing dollars, and we have this whole brand image we've built. If I want to violate that, I have to make sure that every agent under me is, subscribing to the same policies. Now, if I hire a few more agents, I could probably go to about a dozen, and then no longer can I review every file. I don't have the ability anymore. So gosh, I need a file checker. But dang, that costs money, so now I need a few more agents. And I get a few more agents, and suddenly, I really don't have time to do the books myself anymore, because I've got these other agents to review their files and take their calls, and so I need somebody, a bookkeeper. And then pretty soon you need more agents, and then pretty soon you need a trainer for those agents, and suddenly you're finally moving back to the big broker realm, and there I am outside the licensing exam again. So if you can tell me, Rob, how a big brokerage can make sure, like you said, that the worst agent in the shop is still delivering on that message, then I'm sold.
Rob.
And I'm sorry, before I sit, how many people don't agree that sometimes there are a few people out there that don't think we're that cool, and agents, the respect issue is still kind of an issue. So this is hugely important. I think our whole future and our whole livelihood depends on it.
So I have a one-word response, and then I have a much lengthier response. I should probably give a one-word response and run away now. But because I committed to sticking through the beatings. The one-word response is Redfin. They recently became profitable.
Redfin
recently became profitable. When Redfin first came out and I started thinking about it, I said, you know what? This potentially is the future of what big brokerage might look like. There's nothing in Redfin's model to me that is not scalable. Now, you have no idea who a Redfin agent is necessarily. They're probably not here. But they have managed to establish and keep a brand as a company. The second, the much longer answer is, in some ways, I completely agree with you, in the sense that the big brokers have created the problem that they're facing right now. When they gave up control over the customer relationship to the agents and said, you guys go generate leads, you guys go work your sphere of influence, you guys do everything, and we're going to give you more and more splits, and we're going to not worry, and it now becomes a numbers game, and I have to stand outside the licensing waiting passwords. There's no doubt, if big brokers are going to survive, in my opinion, they have to change this. And I said, they have the resources. They have, as yet, has shown the will to change. But if there is, I don't see any reason. There's no strategic, there's no business, there's no reason why a brokerage could not act the same way, let's say, an e-commerce operator. A very large company, let's say, like Zappos, or Amazon, or eBay, or forget the tech world. Apple is a very large company. They've maintained the brand. Why they couldn't do this? Through the application of the simple and yet extremely difficult to execute strategy known as managing people. The thing that I can look at is, we've talked about this, I've spoken about it before, there is a problem in the industry today, not again from my non-broker, non-agent, no running the backseat, but having looked at things from corporate strategy, and it's this. The management is extraordinarily weak. The whole enforcement of culture, enforcement of brand promise. Mark Davidson talks about 1,000 Watts talks about this a lot. What does your brand mean? The Prudential of Big Rock, or Coldwell Bank, or Century 21. What do these brands mean in the consumer's eye? It doesn't mean anything because they've abandoned any pretense of brand promise. That can't change. That's what I'm saying. I believe that can change. I believe that when the will to change exists, they can make those brands meaningful, whatever they want that brand promise to be, and they can step back from the models of the past. It was just a churn numbers game, and go towards something a little bit closer to Redfin model, in which the following happens. You have to control the customer relationship. The only way you can do this, and I've talked about this a bit, is you have to put in enterprise class CRM, customer relationship management, with the staff to manage and activate that. You have to put in enterprise class customer service so that the brand is meaningful to the consumer, not just the individual agent that you might have a relationship with. you know, you think about all the buzz, all the hype around guys like Zappos, I guess we'll hear it in a minute. It's all about the service delivery. It's not necessarily about the single service person that I know. I have a relationship with that brand. This can happen in real estate. I see no reason why it can't. The question is, will the big brokers wake up in time, find the will, and do this? I believe they will.
Okay, so hold on, wait a second. All right, so I want to throw one wrench in this here. I had a very interesting conversation outside in the hallway with my bowling buddy Bill Leiter back there, and he said he was coming specifically to hear this discussion, and we were talking, and one of the things we were talking about is that what do we do about the model, right? Because all the things you're talking about are organizations that have an employee model, whereas the real estate brokerage has a independent contractor model, right? So how much is that going to play in, and I don't know how you run your brokerage. I don't know if I'm assuming you have independent contractors?
Yes.
Okay. So the question I'd like to discuss here is, can the independent brokerage go to an employee model, and would it benefit? I mean, would it solve some of the issues that we're talking about? And in the same respect, why doesn't, if they have the resources, why don't they use them? Why doesn't the big brokerage commit resources when they know that, presumably, according to you, they know that they have